Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about You Sure Showed Them. Viewers divided after DoorDasher shares how she got revenge on customers who didn't tip on 980 Smoothie King order. So no tip, no trip has been adopted into a lot of people's mindsets in different ways. Some people believe that you should just completely ignore those orders like I do. Some people say let's do something to their food or make some arbitrary point or try to educate them when in reality this is 2024. If you don't know how to tip your drivers by now, you either don't care or too young to care. And now this person gone viral for what they did to this Smoothie King order, for good reasons or otherwise. So with that said, we are talking about everything that is being said in this article, how it actually is for DoorDash, UberEats, and Grubhub drivers and customers, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. Yet another DoorDash driver is going viral on TikTok after showing how they got back at a customer who didn't tip them on an order. Nikki at Thatsonofa says that she took on a Smoothie King delivery request from a baseball team that cost nearly $1,000. She was miffed to see that whoever placed the order decided to leave the gratuity out of it. I'm going to leave their TikTok as well as their profile in the description so you can develop your own opinions on the subject. Now here's the thing about that $1,000 smoothie order, or nearly $1,000. You shouldn't have taken it. There is a reason why drivers don't want to work with customers like that. They just suck. And I guarantee you that the Smoothie King order was placed by one of those baseball moms that no one likes, but she's taking on the responsibility where no one else would want to anyway, so they almost tolerate her. The DoorDash driver says she decided to keep their straws out of the bag upon delivery, leaving the customer scrambling to get their own. Okay, I never condone any sort of behavior that can genuinely hurt the experience of the customer just for not tipping. I say leave them alone under normal circumstances. That's pretty funny. That is the kind of petty that makes me smile. It's not right. You shouldn't do it. Still funny. In the comment section of her video, some folks told Nikki if she didn't want to work a job that relies on gratuities, then she shouldn't work for DoorDash. But there were also those who sympathized with her plight. Okay, if you're the former where you're like,
why don't you just get a real job? I don't want to tip you.
Then you fucking suck as a person. If you're the kind of person who doesn't want to provide a tip for the service that they're receiving, you suck. You always have sucked, and you always will suck. And not in the fun way. If you're on the former side, I can sympathize with her plight, but she should just say no to the order and work with customers that would definitely tip their drivers. I know that's getting to the point where some people are questioning if it's still feasible to do that on DoorDash, but that's why you multi-app. Revenge on a no-tip Smoothie King delivery. Thinking about the time I accepted a $980 catering order from Smoothie King for a baseball team and they didn't tip. So I accidentally forgot to give them their straws. Okay, but there are times where I can be that petty too. So I did a delivery for an Amazon warehouse, right? And this is the second time I did that. The first time I did that, I went to the wrong entrance by mistake. When I did it right the second time, I kept calling and they refused to pick up. So instead of me waiting there for 5 minutes or however long I had to wait there for her to pick up the phone, I went around to the other side and somehow she magically was able to pick up the phone. So she ended up having to go through the wrong way again because I wasn't allowed past a certain point, and she struggled to carry the box all the way back to where the food needed to go. So I'm that kind of petty too. Forgetting the straws, on the other hand, you basically removed the overall ability for anybody to enjoy the smoothies. It seemed like there were a lot of people in the comment section of Nikki's video who thought she was petty for holding on to the straws. You sure showed them, one person remarked. She gave them a minor inconvenience for slighting her. Seems reasonable, another added. Call it what you want, but that's the thing that happens when you don't tip your driver. You don't know what kind of driver you're gonna get, and you don't know what they're gonna do. And if you're the kind of person who justifies poor behavior by acting that way, as a customer or as a driver, you shouldn't be on the platform. I don't think she should have accepted the order in the first first place, but you shouldn't have gotten your order at all. There were others who couldn't understand why Nikki would accept the order if she was expecting a tip. So why would you accept the order? I did Instacart, but usually you see beforehand if they tipped or not. Another replied, you could see the tip before you accept the order. On DoorDash, you kind of know when it's a no-tip order. You don't always know how much they tipped because of the hidden tip system, but you know when they're not tipping you. So why'd you take it? I never cared if someone didn't leave a tip because sometimes all the person has is the exact bill, but they wanted to go out and do something nice for themselves or another. I just want to see smiling faces of further user claims. That's cute. That is naive and stupid, but it's cute. First off, if you're going out and you can't afford it, that's why you're broke. That's why you're sad. That's why you're useless. You should not be ordering on DoorDash if you are broke. Period. It's not an argument. It's a fact. I love how people like to use that as a form of justification for poor behavior. It's not. Second, if you're doing this for the point of seeing smiling faces, I guarantee you're one of three kinds of people. One, you're a new Dasher that hasn't really been through it enough. You work for DoorDash in the corporate office or some sort of shill trying to push some kind of narrative, or you are a no-tip customer trying to push that kind of narrative. Either way, it is fiscally irresponsible to accept no-tip orders and work with no-tip customers. Not to mention how dangerous it is to work with a customer who doesn't tip their drivers. You want to know what kind of customer no-tips their drivers? They bitch about everything. They pull scams like order never arrived scams. They get refund methods. They can get you deactivated. They complain about every little thing. You didn't give them straws. You could have been deactivated for that. Why? Because a customer is going to cry about it, and who are they going to blame? The last person who had the order, the driver.
But Joe, it could have also been the restaurant not giving them the straws for the order. There's plausible deniability.
And if you know DoorDash well enough, you know that's not plausible deniability. One user argued that she could have received a tip after receiving her items, and that doesn't really make sense for a customer to fork over a gratuity if the service hasn't been completed to their liking. Do they still have the option to tip after delivery? Why would you tip before you even get your stuff? I kind of don't understand this because what if people want to tip after their delivery? As another person said. That is a great display of the number of customers who, number one, don't understand the business model and refuse to understand the business model. The kind of customers who want to push a poor narrative instead of actually think on their own because they don't think, they're not smart people, and is probably not going to want to care regardless. They're probably going to stand on that hill and die on it. Because 99 times out of 100, no one is going to tip after delivery. You want to know who does tip after delivery though? The kind of customer that tips before and after. Not at all. Because crappy customers want to find any way in the world to justify their behavior because they're crap people, always have been crap people, and always will be crap people. They want to find any and every reason to blame you, the driver. That's why you never work with crappy people like that. Why didn't the customers leave a tip? Nikki did have her defenders, however, like this one commenter who did the math on the order, writing that she must have had to move a lot of product in the order to get the baseball team its wares. If you do the math, let's say 14 a pop on the high-end price for a smoothie, that's about 70 smoothies to move by yourself. That's a lot of work. She should have tipped, they wrote. They should have tipped regardless. I understand what he's trying to say, like the amount of work that goes into it, but if you're not tipping your driver for the service you're asking for the convenience of you not having to get it yourself, then you fucking suck as a person. You have sucked and always will suck as a person. Others argued that the lack of tip could have been a simple case of the customer following company policy. I wasn't allowed to tip when I had to use our company card, or I could be fired, and I felt awful every time, one wrote. Okay, then your company shouldn't be ordering food. Like, okay, I understand that your company doesn't allow you to tip, but then you shouldn't be ordering food. Like, if your company chooses to disrespect other companies, other businesses, because these are what they are. We are own business. We are in business for ourselves, and you don't want to provide the payment for those businesses, you're the problem. Yeah, you're doing your job, but don't expect everything to go right every time, because that's what your executives wanted. They got the service they deserve. Another posted, our high school wasn't allowed to tip when it got food and stuff for the band. We usually gave them a tip out of our own money because of it. Your high school wasn't allowed to tip? This goes right back to the conversation of should schools have the right to order food? Because if that's the way they're going to treat drivers, if that's the way they're treating their own students, pushing money out of their pockets, they suck. Don't help them. Why would you support any sort of system that abuses drivers that way? Whether it's a person, whether it's a school, whether it's a company, it doesn't matter. They suck, they always have sucked, and they always will suck. Nikki, when replying to the above referenced TikTokers, said that she didn't even consider that this was the case. Because you shouldn't have to consider that being the case, to be honest. Let's be realistic. At the end of the day, you're worried about your business and your growth of your business, not how their business is going, not the policies they are having. That just means the business partnership that you have with that company, with that high school, with that person isn't feasible. It doesn't work. You can't lose your own expenses just because they are not willing to provide. Other DoorDash drivers have previously gone viral on TikTok upon airing out the ways they've gotten back at customers who refuse to tip for their meals. Like this one driver who blasted the heat on one person's salad because they didn't leave gratuity. Someone's hot Wendy's order was subject to the similar fate. The temperature was just reversed. But here's the reality. You never accept no tip orders anyway. It's irresponsible to do so. Because you're showing customers it doesn't matter how bad they are as people, people will deliver it. It won't always go the way you want. There may be something that they will end up being able to make a TikTok about. But at the end of the day, you are condoning their behavior by choosing to accept their order, even though you definitely should. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. If this doesn't say no tip, no trip is a better way to do business, I don't know what's going to. There are some people in my comment section that literally just adopted no tip, no trip as a policy. Their acceptance rate is about 20. They completely ignore the Dash Rewards program. They are making more money, they're doing less work, and they're not letting DoorDash manipulate them into bad programs. That's a win, in my opinion, because that's the better way to do things. You don't let companies take advantage of you. I know that there are some people that genuinely believe they cannot get onto the platform unless they do it things that way. And you know what? If you're in that situation, I am so sorry to hear that, because it sounds like you're in a very oversaturated market, but nevertheless, you really shouldn't do that. That is exactly why you multi-app. That is exactly why you diversify your gig portfolio, so you're never super dependent on any one gig app. If you can't be on DoorDash for whatever reason, because of the scheduling system, or the orders just suck, that's fine. That's why you never have too much dependence on one app. Why would you allow companies to treat you that way? All in all, I am still a firm believer of no tip, no trip. Not no tip, hold the straws and have some arbitrary sense of justice. Not no tip, do the order begrudgingly. Not no tip, try to educate the customer or try to help the customer understand. No tip, no trip. It's that simple. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.